I have long pondered the mystery of the shadow, the hidden side of creation that mirrors the light. In the Kabbalistic tradition, this darkness is not absence but aftermath. It is called the Qlippoth, the shells, the husks, the residue of a divine catastrophe. Before the cosmos took shape, the infinite light, Ein Sof, contracted to make space for existence. Into that void 10 vessels were poured with the radiance of creation. They were the Sephiroth, emanations of the divine mind. But the vessels shattered beneath the torrent of infinite energy. The fragments, still alive with light, fell into the abyss. There they hardened, trapping divine sparks inside their broken shells. Thus was born the Qlippoth, the dark reflection of the tree of life, a world of imbalance, distortion, and exile. To study it is to trace the fractures in the architecture of creation itself. If the Sephiroth form the tree of life, the ladder by which souls ascend toward God, then the Qlippoth form the tree of death, the inverted reflection beneath it. Every Sephirah has its twin in shadow, a diseased echo of divine perfection. Where Kether, the crown, radiates unity, its opposite Thomiel divides. Where Chokmah births wisdom, Gagiel breeds deceit. Each holy emanation casts a demonic shadow. Medieval Kabbalists taught that this inversion was not mere moral allegory, it was metaphysical necessity. Light demands a shadow. In the depths of the human psyche, the same pattern repeats. The ego, corrupted by its striving for the divine, becomes entangled in its reflection. The Qlippoth, then, are not to be worshipped or denied. They are to be understood, for they mark the boundary between the finite and the infinite. To glimpse the inverted tree is to confront the flaw inherent in being itself. The mystics divided the cosmos into 4 worlds: Atziluth, Braya, Yetzirah, Asya, emanation, creation, formation, and action. Yet beneath these another stratum festers, the Qlippothic realms. Here dwell the shells that encase the fallen sparks, each realm darker, denser, more chaotic than the last. They are described in ancient texts as Satariel, Gagiel, Thagirian, Harab, Serapel, and others, names that echo like broken chords. Within them divine energy writhes, seeking release through consciousness. The Zohar hints that our material world, the lowest of all, is built upon these husks. Our bodies, our desires, even our fears are shaped by their residue. Luria's disciples saw human existence as the battlefield of Tikkun, the restoration of light from these shattered worlds. Every act of compassion, every spark of insight, is a fragment lifted from the debris of the Qlippoth toward its source. Thus, even within the darkness, redemption smolders. In the Renaissance, scholars like Athanasius Kircher and Christian Knorr von Rosenrod sought to map the Qlippoth onto the angelic hierarchies. If angels govern the Sephiroth, then demons rule their inverses. Thaumiel is said to be ruled by Satan and Moloch, embodiments of division and tyranny. Gagiel answers to Beelzebub, lord of distortion. Satariel, the shadow of Binah, hides behind the veils of Lucifuge Rophokal, keeper of forbidden wisdom. These were not cartoon devils, but archetypes of imbalance, forces that guard the gateways between light and shadow. In occult grimoires, magicians were warned. To summon such entities was to court one's own undoing. Yet in secret, the bravest or the most desperate sought them. For within the husks, they believed, lay the power of the fallen light itself. The 16th century city of Safed in the hills of Galilee became the crucible of this dark cosmology. There, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, taught that creation began not in perfection but in rupture. His doctrine of Tzimtzum, the divine contraction, and Shevirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels, offered an explanation for imperfection and evil without denying the omnipotence of God. The Ari's disciples, Chaim Vital, Israel Sarug, and others, expanded the myth into a system of repair, tikkun olam. Every prayer, every act of mercy, every moment of awareness helps to lift a spark from the Qlippoth back toward the infinite. Evil in this light is not absolute. It is exiled holiness, divinity waiting to be redeemed, and humanity standing between the tree and its shadow becomes the mediator of creation's healing. Centuries later, Western occultists reinterpreted these mysteries. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, and later Kenneth Grant translated the Qlippoth into the language of initiation. Where the Kabbalists sought purification, the occultists sought confrontation. To them, the Qlippoth were gates of transformation, each shell a trial to be endured, each demon a mask of deeper power. Crowley wrote of the night side of the tree, a journey through the tunnels of chaos where the adept must balance intellect with will, order with passion. Grant expanded this into a vast cosmic mythos, linking the Qlippoth with lunar sorcery, the abyss, and the alien intelligences beyond the veil. In their view, redemption lay not in fleeing the darkness, but in integrating it, in seeing that the light of Kether and the fire of Thaumiel are born of the same source. In the 20th century, Carl Jung offered another language for what the Kabbalists had long known. He called it the shadow, the rejected half of the psyche that, when ignored, becomes the root of evil. To confront the Qlippoth in this sense is to descend into the unconscious and retrieve the buried light. Every human being contains their own tree of life and thus their own tree of death. In dreams and visions, the husks appear as fears, compulsions, and distorted desires. But to face them without hatred is to begin individuation, the union of opposites that restores balance to the soul. The ancient Kabbalists would have called this tikkun ha-nefesh, the restoration of the soul's vessel. Through this inner alchemy, the Qlippoth cease to be prisons and become crucibles of transformation. All creation, says the Zohar, is a dance of separation and return. The light descends, the vessels break, the sparks scatter. Then consciousness arises to gather them again. This is the secret meaning of the Qlippoth. They are not the enemy of God, but the scaffolding of his revelation. Without resistance there can be no creation. Without shadow, no form. Each of us lives within the broken vessel, haunted by the echoes of that first shattering. But every act of awareness, every moment of compassion, repairs a fracture in the cosmic mirror. When the last spark is lifted, when the shadow is understood and not feared, then even the Qlippoth will dissolve into light. For in the end, the shells were never truly apart from the tree. They were its reflection all along. You've been watching the Esoteric Unveiled, exploring hidden orders, forgotten truths, and forbidden knowledge. Like and subscribe.